everyone, this is Lisa McClendon. Today we're going to talk about libel and where it lurks and how to watch for it when you're editing copy. As a review, libel involves several elements. First off, a defamatory statement has to be made. That means that it is damaging to someone's reputation. It has to be an allegation of fact, not an allegation of opinion. It has to be false. If it's true, even if it's defamatory, even if it's a fact, it's not libelous. It has to be about the plaintiff. That is the person who sues. Only the person about whom the statement was made can sue. So if somebody dies, they can't sue you anymore. Now, a responsible journalist will not publish false things even about dead people, but you don't have to worry about them suing you. And they have to be published with fault. And what fault means is that you either knowingly or negligently didn't check things that you could have checked, okay? So that means if you're repeating a rumor, that you didn't fact check something that you could have very easily fact checked, then you're at fault. If you got bad information from a source who should have known, like the police or like the district attorney or some official source like that, if they gave you bad information and you published it, you're not at fault. Typically where you'll encounter libel when you're editing stories is when you see statements that are false, obviously, they've got to be false. When you have an allegation stated as fact. An allegation is, an accusation, a claim by someone, okay? And a lot of times these are going to be allegations of crime since that's what's defamatory. Sometimes it's missing or insufficient attribution. That means you always have to say, how do we know this? Who said this? Where did this come from? Anything that you are publishing that's an allegation, you need attribution for. I mean, any fact that you didn't observe yourself in journalism in general, you need attribution for, but particularly for this, if it's something that's an accusation of something, where did it come from? Who said this? You don't want to do guilt by association. Just because someone's friend is a crook doesn't mean they're a crook. Doesn't mean they're not, but it doesn't mean they are, and you don't want to imply that they are in print or in broadcast or online. And last, display type. And this is, of course, headlines, summaries, cut lines, social media posts, all that kind of stuff that's not the copy. You don't want to really carefully edit copy to get all the libel out and then libel someone in the headline like this. Okay, and why did I cross out the for there? It's because we don't like to say people are arrested for something, okay? They're arrested on suspicion of something, they're arrested in connection with something, they're arrested and charged with something, all of those are fine. But arrested for implies that, oh, they did this and we're just arresting them for it. So you want to be careful about that. So what you want here is you want arrested on suspicion of. You want arrested and charged with. Both of these are good, all right? What you don't want is you don't want arrested for. That is not good, all right? And see, there are two right ways you can do this here and the wrong way, so don't do it that way. Okay, we have a few examples here that I just want to show you. So pause me and read this. Now let's look at where the libel might lurk here. We've got attribution, according to a police report. But then this second sentence here, we don't have any attribution. The car had drugs in it. We're just saying that. We're not saying who said that. We're not saying where we got that information. And we need to do that. Okay, and it may sound a little repetitive, but in crime stories in particular, it's always better to over-attribute than it is to under-attribute. Okay, take a pause and read this one. Okay, on this one we have attribution here. We've got police said, yay, we like that. But they haven't located the driver, and it was a hit-and-run accident. So if it was a hit-and-run and they don't know who was driving, then how do we know they were drunk? And the answer is we don't. They may have been drunk. They may have been on drugs. They may have had a medical incident. We don't know because we haven't found the driver. And the police don't know either. And chances are the police don't tell you something like this. Chances are they may say a suspected drunk driver, something like that. But even if they forget to qualify that, it's our job to do that. Because if we don't know who the driver is, we don't know what the situation was. And we can't just call them drunk because they hit somebody. They hit somebody. But we don't know why, and we cannot make that supposition there. Okay, take a look at this one. Okay, so we've got somebody, just basically a crime victim here. He had 2 tires on his truck slashed. He was a crime victim last year. That's okay. We've got some attribution here, but now we're sort of going into speculation because, like, how do we know that it wasn't? He thought it wasn't, but how does he know that? And then we go, oh my gosh, he guessed. We don't do guessing in journalism, okay? We do what do we know? And if somebody's guessing, that's not good enough. We can't fact check that. And then he levels an accusation at a rival fraternity. So he's basically saying, in print, online, on broadcast, wherever we run this, that Delta Chi slashed their tires. Okay, it's pretty obvious. Well, how do we know this? He's just saying that, okay? So none of this is verified. None of this is checked. This is not a reliable source, so this whole section has to go. Gone. All right, take a look at this one. All right, here we have a good official source according to a complaint filed to the NCAA. Okay, we're good on attribution for this one. Has been accused. All right, it's just an accusation. We don't know yet whether it's true, so we're good here. But I've heard. Okay, whoa, no, we don't do that, especially if you're anonymous. We do not allow anonymous allegations just thrown out at people that we can't verify. And you can't call somebody part of the mafia, okay? You just can't do that, okay? This guy apparently did, but we can't print that, all right? Because we have no idea how to check that. We don't have no idea whether it's true. We can't just take an anonymous allegation from somebody and put it online, broadcast it, put it in the paper. We cannot do that. So this whole section has to go. Bye-bye. Okay, here's our last one. Okay, so they could face up to 15 years in prison, all right. Generally, if you have a specific charge, there's a specific, sentence range with that, so that's okay. For what? For using a tax scheme to defraud the city. Okay, but they were indicted on federal charges. And what an indictment is that's what happens before you actually go on trial. That just means that the prosecutors think they have enough to take you to trial. They think they have a good case against you. They haven't proved their case yet. An indictment is the beginning of the process, not the end of the process. Okay, which means that we haven't had a trial yet. So which means we can't say they did this. Okay? This is an accusation. It is not the truth. And here it is presented as truth. This is an accusation, not the truth yet. We don't know. Okay? What you want for this here is something like they are accused of collecting more than $500,000 in fraudulent tax refunds from the city, okay? The accusation part is really important here. We can't say they did it until they have either pled guilty or been found guilty in a court of law. That's when you can say they did it, okay? So be careful when you're editing. We want to make sure that we get libel out of stories, that we don't publish or air or run online, anything like that. Anything that is potentially libelous. That's a big headache for us, and responsible journalists don't do that.